Gen Z, aka Generation Z, also known as Zoomers, who spend most of their time, if not all of their time, on the internet and social media. If I were to ask you, what's the most distinguishable trait about a Gen Z? You might tell me that they are avid gamers and music lovers, or they're always messaging and on the internet, or they're all about technology. And you ain't wrong there, but I like to think of Gen Z as the generation who loves humor and comes up with the weirdest jokes or memes you can imagine. Recently, while I was working on an animation collaboration, one of my younger friends used the phrase "yeet him into the void" in one of our conversations. Another friend appeared dumbfounded and asked,
"What's a yeet?"
I'ma tell you, I was taken aback at that moment, worried my friend wouldn't get the joke because of a generational gap. I know, he's a boomer. But upon learning what it meant, he spent the rest of the day yeeting other friends into the void. Let's be clear, I'm not a member of Gen Z, but I often find myself surrounded by boomers that are amused by memes on Twitter or TikTok. From my understanding, some boomers find it hard to understand the Gen Z humor. One fine example would be my parents. If I were to crack them with a Gen Z joke and then wait for their reactions, I'd most likely be rewarded with a "WTF is this look. And when that happens, do I A, come up with something my folks would be able to relate to that has absolutely nothing to do with the meme in question, or B, face the dreaded looks of confusion I'll receive when trying to explain why this woman yelling at a cat is the funniest thing I've ever seen. I mean, I myself am barely able to understand Gen Z humor, or at the very least, I've just started to digest those weird jokes I see every day on the internet. For example,
Say, Billie Eilish doesn't know who Van Halen is? How could she not know Van Halen? What is wrong with her?
What the heck is a Van Halen?
Oof.
See, boomers don't get what oof is, and only a handful even know what a yeet is as mentioned earlier. Hell, I'm not even sure how many of them know what a Billie Eilish is. But amazingly, if you're Gen Z, you'll 100% get that quirky humor. I think Gen Z's sense of humor isn't broken, it's just misunderstood. Oftentimes in my animations, I work with gamers and some of the young ones have told me stuff like,
"We're all Sims floating around a simulation."
Which left me wondering how much those games like Minecraft and Roblox have taken over humanity. This attitude that we're all merely things floating around a simulation is common within Gen Z, and so they treat everything as if it doesn't make sense, especially humor.
The only thing that makes sense is that nothing makes sense.
Hey, was Harry Styles black?
Harry Styles is literally whiter than paper, yo!
What? Didn't he bleach his skin because of some skin condition, my guy?
That's Michael Jackson, you son of a bitch!
Whenever I have a discussion about generations, friends in my circle have told me that Gen Zs tend to revel in absurd humor, and it also goes hand in hand with dark comedy. Why? I reckon it's a byproduct of having too many things to deal with and not being old enough or having enough time to tackle them. Gen Zs grew up with financial crisis running rife, experienced political turmoils like the Brexit for the UK or the Trump era for the US, and not to mention other things. Not gonna talk about that. So what do they do then? Like any first world problem, they take it to social media to vent or rant.
I don't care how hard life gets. I'm not putting my feelings on Snapchat with a black screen.
Speaking of social media, I gotta talk about TikTok. Unpopular opinion here, I think TikTok is really suitable for Gen Z. I must say I can't understand for the life of me how TikTok works, but I guess it might be a great source of inspiration since, you know, Gen Z and their sense of humor. Can't wait to see what's in store. Oh my god, what is this shit? Walao. Why? Just why? That said, there are some instances where you get recommended with some humor that you can relate to. Some people just want to watch the world turn green.
Hello, we are not going to talk about the elephant in the room. To quote a famous quote, "If it was a spice, it would be flour." But no, it's not even that. If it was a sauce, it would be water.
Disgusting.
You see, Gen Z's humor are not always intended to be realistic or relatable. The fact that the most absurd memes are sometimes the most hilarious ones can make onlookers go,
Now where on earth did they come up with that?
Millennials would rather find humor in the art of adulting or but first coffee mantras, whereas boomers would rather just make fun of young people for their internet addiction, inducing eye rolls from all the subsequent generations. Joking about something is also a way that people accept difficult things in their lives, and that's a good thing, even though not everyone gets the joke sometimes. Gen Zers are smart and they know that their generation might very well be the last generation to live in the world as they know it. They are dealing with the world they have been born into as if it's inherently meaningless and chaotic, and have responded with pure absurdism. If anything, they're probably just misunderstood above everything else.